India and the misuse of the national carrier under the focus, the Civil Aviation Minister tendering a public apology after recent instances of netas' alleged high-handedness that have kept Air India flights grounded or delayed or preponed to suit the netas. The big question is the common man playing second fiddle to the high-flying neta and their VIP culture? What of Air India? Is Air India being treated as the private property by our netas? Dinesh Trivedi, former Union Minister of State, is joining me, and also Captain retired SS Panesar, former Director of Flight Safety and Training at Indian Airlines. Appreciate both of you joining us. Dinesh Trivedi, you're one of the few politicians who calls a spade a spade. Do you concede to my question that most of your colleagues in Parliament tend to treat Air India as their personal property, as their private property?
You know, first of all, let me tell you, it's a matter of great shame that, you know, this VIP so-called the neta culture is just like appetite. I do not know most of us do this or not, but I'm aware that quite a few of us, they feel that Air India is our own. Yeah, you can patronize Air India, but you can't do this. This is a shameful thing.
So you're admitting,
I blame Air India equally.
Let me get you to say that more plainly. You're admitting that many of your colleagues in Parliament do see Air India as their personal property.
When you have seen that the Chief Minister of Maharashtra, the deputy, the Deputy Home Minister of India, if they are also doing it, then I'm sure quite a few. And I must tell you, I'll give you my example. Air India guys try to take you ahead and break the queue. I very politely tell them that, look here, the same plane is going, there is no harm, let's be in the queue. But I think Air India has to be equally blamed, and it is headed always by IS officer. And they are not accountable to anybody. They have to protect the MPs so that, you know, when it comes to
are you blaming Air India? Are you going to blame Air India for this mindset, or are you going to blame your colleagues for their mindset?
Absolutely, because what happens, can a private airline would ever do that? If you are somewhere in UK or Germany or America, can you think of this? First of all, as a member of Parliament, I have a greater responsibility than a common citizen. I have to stand by and lead by example. I will give you one story very shortly in 1 minute. Andrew Mitchell, the then conservative chief whip of the ruling party in 2012, he had an argument. He wanted to take his bicycle to 10 Downing Street. The policeman said that you take by the side route. And they had an argument, and he had to resign. He had to resign. He said, I have put my colleagues to shame, I must resign. I think we need to do that, and it's a matter of shame.
No one's ever going to do that in India.
I feel terribly ashamed of it.
No one's ever going to do what the Conservative MP did in... Let me just come to you for a moment, Mr. Panesar. I also want to clarify to our viewers that Devendra Fadnavis has issued another statement saying it's a completely false story. He did not delay the flight. It's criminal defamation. So we will wait to see what actually Mr. Fadnavis does. But we also have the case of Mr. Rejuju now before us, who pre-boarded a plane and forced the deplaning of 3 passengers at least. Mr. Panesar, in your experience, does this happen very often, and is it the mindset issue that Mr. Dinesh Trivedi talks about, that Air India and Indian Airlines have internalized the idea that when a VIP or when a neta comes, you have to treat him with special privileges? So even if the neta doesn't want the privileges, Air India will give him the privileges. They will upgrade him, they will make sure that he's at the front of the line, they will keep a flight waiting for him.
Well, Rajdeep, it is high time that we should bring discipline, and these netas and all VIP should become actually disciplined and self-responsible to give an example to the traveling public that they are before everybody else, and they don't take things for granted.
But how do you explain what Dinesh Trivedi is saying? Dinesh Trivedi is saying Air India must take also responsibility, that the Air India officials also, when asked to bend, are ready to crawl.
Well, you must understand, Air India for the last so many years being handled by the bureaucrats. And what they teach them is that you have to give them respect to all the politicians, responsibility. Their maid servants are upgraded. people, paid passengers are not accepted in first class, but seats are given to the bureaucrats, all the ministers in the upgraded first class. They have issued circulars to give them all the privileges and all that.
You know,
when they were going to get rid of all these things?
You know, Dinesh
Let them
Trivedi,
become a...
Dinesh Trivedi, I have some hard facts. The hard facts show the latest record: government owes 600 crores to Air India for using its aircraft for travel of VVIPs. Air India's net debt stands at 36,000 crores. The state carrier is surviving on a 30,000 crore performance-linked bailout package. Given these figures, Air India is increasingly in debt. Every minister who comes to Air India says he's going to become civil aviation minister, says I'm going to revive or restructure Air India. Has the time come simply to sell off Air India? To just get away from this culture where where government employees believe they can own an airline?
I must tell you, Rajdeep, Air India is one of the best airlines in the world. The product is very good. Captain Panesar is there. I mean, they have been great engineers, great pilots, everything is fine. But it is because there is no accountability. You sell off your productive routes to somebody else, and you kill that airline. So I don't blame the airline. You need a professional management. You need a professional guy on the top. Bureaucrats on the top has no accountability. I'm not trying to denigrate them, but they have no accountability. Today they are in Air India. Tomorrow they'll go to Ministry of Sports. So they do not have that kind of love and affection for that place which a professional guy who's accountable would have.
Are you saying that a minister today who keeps a flight waiting, or an official who keeps a flight waiting, what should be the nature of punishment to that individual? Is it enough, as has happened today, to say sorry? Is it enough to simply say sorry? How is this going to, how are we going to prevent its recurrence?
Andrew Mitchell had said sorry, but he resigned. So I think morality demands that you just go. And in case of the Chief Minister of Maharashtra, if whatever is coming is true, then if he doesn't resign, he needs to be sacked. There has to be an example. And I'm glad at least that minister has apologized and said, I'm sorry. It's quite possible that he did not know what was happening. But can you imagine these 3 passengers who were offloaded? What happened to their baggage? We are even talking about the safety and security. Okay. So I think you need to set an example and need to sack them, or they have to resign. Something needs to be done. Okay, enough is enough now.
Okay, I hope you will say that next time a Trinamool Congress MP also is found delaying a flight, as long as you promise me that.
I don't get to, Rajdeep, I don't get into parties. For me, I have always said that it is the example in the country which we have to set. How does it matter?
Okay,
whether it is Trinamool, Congress, BJP, for me it doesn't matter.
Okay, well I will hold you to that. The next time I hear of a Trinamool Congress MP misusing their privileges, I will come to you.
I promise.
Okay.
I promise you.
Okay, I will keep your promise. Captain Panesar, Dinesh Trivedi, appreciate.
You cannot have double standard. You can't have double standard.
I hope not. Thank you both very much for joining us.